Welcome to The Outlet, an OTG production.
What's up, NBA fans? Welcome to another edition of The Outlet. With me, as always, Parth.
What's going on, Nick?
What's up, Parth? We're getting pretty deep in these rankings. Today at number 12, we have the Washington Wizards. But before we talk about the ranking, here's a clip from last season.
They're going to end up on Pierce. They're matched up with Pierce and Nene right at the free throw line.
Beal inbounding. Here's Wall. Wall in trouble. 3 seconds left. Wall with 2. Here's Pierce, and Pierce gets it away. Good, and it's gone. He did it. Paul Pierce ties it, sends it to overtime. This guy's unreal.
Dude, I can't believe he made that shot. I know it didn't count at the end, which the clip doesn't get to. I think he was 0.1 seconds late on the release, but the fact that he made that shot is incredible.
Yeah, Pierce is clutch.
Here's Pierce,
he hit a game winner earlier in that series. The year prior in the playoffs, he was making plays, so Pierce is definitely clutch.
Yeah, but now Washington has to replace that late game production and that clutch gene that they lost with Pierce moving on to the Clippers.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need someone to step up as a closer this upcoming season. So do you think this is a fair rank for the Wizards?
I think it's a fair rank. It's right where they were last season. I would say they were in the 9 to 12 best team in the NBA range. So I think this is a good ranking for him.
Yeah, I think this is fair. Just they lost Pierce, but they're able to add Allen Anderson, Jared Dudley, Gary Neal, some guys that'll definitely help their bench. But let's talk about key returners. Obviously, John Wall, Bradley Beal, Gortat, Otto Porter Jr., Nene. Who do you think needs to have a big year?
Well, in terms of his long-term security, Bradley Beal definitely needs to have a huge year. They could have extended him this summer, but according to reports, they want to keep that cap space open for Kevin Durant possibly next season. And also I think the two sides are pretty far apart. Bradley Beal, of course, wants a max contract, and the Wizards don't really want to give it to him at this point. He's been a little injury prone, and I don't think he's developed the way I think the Wizards wanted him to, being a number 3 overall pick a couple seasons ago. So for the team to have success, I think Bradley Beal needs to step into that Paul Pierce role at the end of games, and also just become a better overall two guard.
I agree with that. I think Bradley Beal does need to have a big season for himself, like you said, with his contract. Another injury really hurts his value on the market, so he needs to stay healthy, have a big season. The Wizards need to have a big season, pick up some of the slack that Pierce left, close games for them, and just be more consistent. But let's talk about offseason moves. What moves do you like from the Wizards?
I love adding Allen Anderson. He's a big time off the bench scorer. Dude knows how to put the ball in the basket. And I like the addition of Gary Neal, because this team definitely needs more shooting. What team doesn't need more shooting? Maybe the Golden State Warriors, but every other team in the league definitely needs more shooting. Gary Neal provides that, as we saw with his time in San Antonio.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Allen Anderson. Obviously, being a Nets fan, I watch a lot of Anderson. He comes in, plays hard every night. Like you said, he's able to put points on the board. He defends. And I also like Jared Dudley as well. I think he's going to start the season injured, but he gives him some nice floor spacing, and he could possibly play a little bit of stretch 4.
Jared Dudley's also one of the best players to listen to if he's ever on a podcast. I know he's been on the Low Post with Zach Lowe a couple of times, and he gives some awesome stories, awesome insight into the NBA and the locker room and all that kind of stuff. So he's a cool dude.
Yeah, I definitely have to check that out. What moves do you not like from the Wizards?
Well, of course, losing Paul Pierce hurts. I think the last couple of seasons that 3 spot has been a revolving door. I know they had Trevor Ariza a couple seasons ago, Paul Pierce last year, and now he's gone. And so they better hope Kelly Oubre Jr. or Otto Porter Jr., one of the two juniors, is a long-term answer at the 3 spot.
Yeah, like you said, losing Pierce hurts. They lose his veteran leadership and also his production at the 3 and his clutch ability in the playoffs. Like you mentioned, they also are going to need one of the juniors to set up Otto Porter Jr. did have a nice playoffs last year. He was able to step up. I think he played better in the playoffs than he did during the regular season.
Yeah, he definitely did.
So another thing is it'll be interesting to see what the Wizards decide to do offensively. Towards the end of the season, they really struggled offensively. There wasn't much floor spacing, but in the playoffs, Randy Whitman elected to play Paul Pierce at the 4 a lot, and it really helped space the floor. So keep an eye on that going to the season.
Yeah, I don't know if Otto Porter Jr. or Kelly Oubre Jr. can play the 4 just because they're a little bit smaller than Pierce. They obviously don't have the vet savvy that Pierce did to take advantage of that mismatch.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll be able to fill that role, and Washington may not be able to play that small ball 4 sort of lineup. But I think Jared Dudley could possibly play the small ball 4, a really small 4.
Yeah, I could definitely see Dudley doing it. It'd probably be hard for Otto Porter Jr. or the other junior as well, just because, like you mentioned, they're young. They're not as big as Pierce, but maybe a matchup could help them.
And also they lost Kevin Seraphin, who I think he's with the Knicks now. Not a big name, but he did play well in the playoffs against Atlanta. So that's just another – I know Nene always has injury issues, and so you want someone to spell him. I think they also do they return Chris Humphries?
They do.
Okay, so, I mean, he'll be back, but he's not a center. And Kevin Seraphin definitely is he's probably like 6'10", 6'11", solid center off the bench. So I think they may miss the depth that he provided if Nene were to get hurt.
Yeah, he definitely gives him some nice size. Like you said, he's not a big-time player, but he has had some nice stretches in the NBA. But let's talk about X factor for the Wizards this season.
Well, I think John Wall needs to really improve his perimeter shooting. He's one of the best point guards in the league. Incredible handle, incredible vision. But I think the only thing that's keeping him in that second tier of point guard behind Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook is his shooting ability. It's a little inconsistent. He improved last season with his mid-range game, but I think if he can extend his range out to the three-point line, he will be an impossible guard. He would be a nightmare.
Yeah, he adds a solid three-point shot to his game, like you said. He'll be pretty much unguardable, so keep an eye on that. My X factor is going to be pretty similar. Just John Wall and Bradley Beal to take that next step, so that backcourt just continue to make improvements, just so the Wizards can go to that next level, because they need both these guys to be all-stars year in and year out.
I think someone on the OTG did a top backcourts in the league article a couple months ago, and I think John Wall and Bradley Beal were 5th on there. If I can remember, I'm sure we can link that article in the description, but they should be top 3 in my opinion.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of potential. I think Zayad wrote that article, but Bradley Beal, John Wall, they definitely could almost be number 1 if they really get to the top and prove it.
Right. I think that's just the next step for him. Bradley Beal to stay on the court and develop his overall game in terms of handling the ball, taking it to the basket, playmaking, and then John Wall expanding his range.
Exactly. And they're both solid defenders, so that only helps. Best case scenario for the Wizards.
Best case, I think they were the 5th seed last year. They didn't have home court advantage in the playoffs, and they obviously didn't need it against Toronto, but they won't get that lucky every time in the playoffs. So I think their best case would be, I think they can get top 3 in the East.
I'm going to go with probably top 4. I think best case scenario, Bradley Beal, John Wall have a good season, take that next step. One of the juniors steps up, and the bench players definitely add some nice depth to the team. Worst case scenario.
Worst case, like with all the teams we're going to do now, they're for sure making the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. But I think they could slip to possibly 6 or 7, I would say, just because you don't know, you have those injury concerns with Beal and Nene, and you don't know how Otto Porter Jr. and Kelly Oubre Jr. fit in for Paul Pierce, especially now that Otto Porter has to play a bulk of the minutes. I think he'll probably be their starting small forward, either him or maybe Allen Anderson, but I'd rather have Allen Anderson coming off the bench because you know what he gives you immediately. So I think if they can slip to 6 or 7 based on those things.
Yeah, worst case, like you said, all these teams are probably going to make the playoffs at this point. Worst case would be 6, 7, or just if they have some injuries. So Wall gets injured maybe, or Beal, or the young guys don't play well. So that's worst case for the Wizards.
I think based on your rankings, I should say, you have them as the 5th team right now going into the 5th team in the East going into the season. So I don't know if they'll end up at 5, but they could definitely go above or below. I don't think they're set at 5 at all. The East is kind of unknown.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of unknowns going into the season for these top seeds. We'll see. The only one who's really a lock is Cleveland. Our next segment, the truth.
So for the truth today, we have the terrified emoji face. And that's not because of their injury concerns or John Wall's inability to shoot threes or anything like that. It's because they have the worst uniforms in the NBA. And I think a report came out last season that Kanye and Wale are working on. I don't know if Kanye's involved, but I know for sure Wale's involved in the rebranding of the Wizards. Hopefully that happens sometime soon. They have a nice little slogan in DC Rising. They have a nice young team. Well, they're not that young. They have some old players, but they have a nice young backcourt, dynamic backcourt, and they just need to upgrade those terrible-looking uniforms.
Yeah, they definitely do. Hopefully Wale pulls out something nice for the new jerseys.
So, yeah, the terrified face is the face I make every time I have to see those uniforms. Jeez.
So are you going to watch the Wizards on League Pass this year?
Well, because I'm in the Washington area, I won't be able to watch them on League Pass technically just because of the blackout restrictions. But they do have 5 nationally televised games. I'll probably catch those. And just because I live close, I might go see some Wizards games live. But as far as watching them I think they're on Comcast Sportsnet, DC. As far as me watching them on that channel, maybe when they have games against big-time teams. But I'd rather watch a couple of other teams over the Wizards if I had that option.
Yeah, when they have some nice matchups, I'll definitely check them out. It's kind of surprised they only have 5 nationally televised games.
Especially in the market that DC is. DC is a crazy basketball market. But expect that national TV number to rise if they land Kevin Durant. Watch that go to like 25.
Yeah, for sure. Would you rather watch the Wizards? Would you rather watch the Wizards or Better Call Saul?
Better Call Saul, the Breaking Bad spinoff about Saul Goodman, the lawyer. I caught the first season, and I felt similar to my thoughts on the first season of Better Call Saul are similar to Breaking Bad. It's kind of slow, built up kind of towards the end, but I think the second season is going to be incredible.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check that out.
I think I'll watch Better Call Saul over watching the Wizards on Comcast Sportsnet.
I guess Better Call Saul takes the win right there. All right, thank you guys for listening. And a hint for our next team, they're in a hairy situation.